bank started decentralizing out of our headquarters around 2009. At that time, we decided that it makes sense for the bank to own its own buildings in the large countries where we are going to be. And a decision was made to choose Nigeria as the first country to build outside of the headquarters.
This is Nigeria, in the words of poet Nkiru Asika. She might as well be talking about Africa.
I am a Nobel Prize winner, an Olympic gold medalist, a Grammy Award winner, a soccer champion, an Oscar nominee, a giant of literature, a distinguished scientist.
The commissioning of the four-story Africa Development Bank building in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, the first outside its Abidjan headquarters, signals the ramping up of the bank's activities as it spreads its tentacles across Africa.
It is the first time that the African Development Bank has built an office complex outside its headquarters in Abidjan since its inception in 1964. After all, Nigeria is the largest shareholder of the African Development Bank. The African Development Bank strongly supports Nigeria and always will. You can tell by the level of our investments in Nigeria to the tune of $6 billion US. From our perspective, our investments can only increase as we expect the levels to reach $8 billion US by 2019. The African Development Bank will certainly not relent in supporting Nigeria in critical areas to boost growth, diversify the economy, and to create jobs.
At a time when we were told that our only option as Nigeria was to go and run into the arms of the IMF, AFDB aligned with the economic management team. AFDB came through with the approval of $1 billion, and that money was very catalytic. The signaling that brought to the market was very, very fundamental. We are hoping with the money that we have received from the African Development Bank to rebrand Irish potato to plateau potato. We believe that not only will we become an exporter of what will become plateau potato, but we will create livelihood enhancement for over 200,000 farmers.
Nigeria's vice president had nothing but praise for the bank's support to the country's economy.
I'm particularly delighted that the bank is working closely with the administration in addressing the challenges faced by communities and people emerging from insurgency in the northeast and some of the militancy in the Niger Delta region during the 2015-2016 economic recession. When we requested support from the bank, the response was swift. The bank approved a budget support loan of $1 billion in November 2016. The first tranche of $600 million has been fully disbursed and utilized, and in my discussions with the president of the bank, we will be getting the remainder in form of sector loans.
To encourage African youths to pursue the road to agricultural transformation in Africa, one of the High Five initiative, an art contest with the theme Farming is Cool was organized, and winners were rewarded at the commissioning of the building.
When I heard about the team Farming is Cool, so I remember back then when me and my mom normally do go to the farm, so I just say, okay, let me just depict that in my painting. My passion now is just for me to encourage youth so that they can involve in farming activities, not leaving it only for their parents to do it. Them too, they should participate in it. Most especially fish farming, because I'm into fish farming also. So I encourage them to participate in farming. Farming is cool.
Olusegun Ladiga designed the building.
This building has been designed in response to quite a number of criteria. One of those regulations was there must be a specific minimum footprint of the building on the site. That meant that we had to have a building with quite a wide footprint. However, on the other hand, the bank wanted a compact and intimate office space. So the compromise between the two was to create an atrium in the center. So you met the requirements of the footprint, but you also had the compact and intimate office relationships. We also have a very significant symbolic element in the building. The building is surrounded on the ground floor by 53 columns. Of course, by the time when we designed this building, there were 53 African countries. And that's part of the symbolism.
It's the first time that the African Development Bank is building its own structure in a country. And this is basically a recognition that the ADB management, right from I think 2010, 2011, conceived of doing, and I'm very happy that it came to closure today. ADB has demonstrated its capacity to deliver a good product to its member countries, including Nigeria.
The vision, what we call the high fives, resonates very well with the vision of most, if not all, African countries. If you look at the plans that the countries have now, and it's been indicated through independent research that if we are able to implement the high fives, our vision, the goals of the African continent will be achieved by about 90%.
The commissioning of this edifice is no doubt a major milestone. On assumption of duty in 2015, Africa Development Bank's President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina put in place the High Fives, which sets a clear vision of where he plans to take Africa using the instrumentality of the bank.
I want to say that the African continent has to move much faster than it has been moving. Africa has to get a lot of hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. We got lots of young people today, 420 million young people in Africa. A bulk of them, when they finish school, they can't get jobs. And that's not the kind of continent that I believe that we need. We see today the rise of terrorism. We see today the rise of conflicts. And Africa cannot afford to have political, social, and economic fragilities like that because we are not providing jobs for our young people.